Hello, in this video we're going to talk about otalgia. Otalgia comes from the Greek word ot, which means ear, and algos, which means pain. So literally means painful ear. The ear is a structure that can be divided into three parts: the inner, middle, and external ear. Otalgia usually describes a painful ear caused by pathology in the external and middle ear. There are so many sensory nerves which innervate the areas of the external ear to the middle ear. Many of these nerves also innervate other organs in our body. Because of this, pain in the ear may not be due to pathology in the ear, but rather referred pain from inflammation elsewhere in the body. Our body have 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves, 8 pairs of which are actually cervical, abbreviated C. The trigeminal nerve, which is cranial nerve number 5, have 3 main branches, and its role is for sensation of the face in a specific distribution depicted in this diagram. You have trigeminal branch 1, trigeminal branch 2, and trigeminal branch 3, abbreviated V1, V2, V3. The third branch of the trigeminal nerve, V3, is the mandibular nerve, and it innervates part of the external ear. This means it also innervates the auricle and external acoustic meatus, the ear canal. Branches of the cervical spinal nerve 2 and cervical spinal nerve 3 innervates the other major portion of the external ear. So far, the external ear is supplied by cranial nerve number 5, branch 3, and then also the branches of cervical nerves 2 and cervical spinal nerve 3. Another nerve that also supplies the external ear is the facial nerve. Now, the facial nerve is cranial nerve number 7. It has important sensory role in special taste sensation to the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. The facial nerve travels through what is called the facial canal, which actually is in close proximity to the middle ear. Branches of the facial nerve also innervates part of the external ear and supplies the middle ear structures, some of them. The glossopharyngeal nerve, cranial nerve number 9, innervates the oropharynx, the carotid bodies, and sinus, the posterior 1/3 of the tongue as well. But it also innervates the middle ear cavity and the eustachian tube. The vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve number 10, is an important nerve known for its parasympathetic function. It innervates many organs in our body, including the heart, the lungs, the digestive tract. It also innervates the middle ear, the external acoustic meatus, and part of the auricle. Cleaning the ear with earbuds can stimulate the vagus nerve. This is the reason why when people clean their ears, they also cough, because the vagal nerve reflex. In summary, the auricle is affected or innervated by cranial nerve number 5, 7, cervical spine nerve 2, C3, the external auditory meatus and canal by cranial nerves 5, 7, and 10, and the middle ear, including the tympanic membranes, by cranial nerve 10 and 9. Irritation of any portion of these nerves can result in otalgia. A good way to categorize otalgia, which is ear pain, is into primary otalgia and secondary otalgia. Pain that originates from the ear is called primary otalgia, and the most common causes are otitis media and otitis externa, which again is more common in children. Secondary otalgia is referred pain and is more common in adults. Causes of primary otalgia include acute otitis media, which is an infection of the middle ear caused by bacteria, and usually preceded by a viral infection. Pain is felt deep within the ear, and children complain of nonspecific symptoms such as irritability, poor sleep, and feeding. Otitis externa, also known as swimmer's ear, is infection of the external ear, typically by bacteria Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Staphylococcus aureus. Otitis externa is characterized by pain and tenderness localized to the external ear canal. Malignant otitis externa, as the name suggests, doesn't mean malignancy like cancer. Rather, malignant otitis externa is where otitis externa actually spreads. The infection spreads to surrounding bones of the skull base, and this will produce an intense pain and obviously signs of toxicity and fever. Another cause of primary otalgia is eustachian tube dysfunction due to viral infection, for example, and this will cause swelling of the eustachian tube and thus ear pain. Foreign body may present with pain and discomfort or even hearing loss as the first presentation. Meningitis is a painful condition that may be caused by a viral infection of the tympanic membrane. Cholesteatoma is a rare but serious complication of otitis media with effusion. Cholesteatoma is where a benign mass of epithelial tissue develops in or behind the tympanic membrane and can erode into the bone of the ear canal. Another cause of a painful ear is cellulitis of the auricle, which is basically the cut, your ear itself. And this will develop usually after trauma or an insect bite or even ear piercing. Herpes zoster infection, which is shingles, is essentially reactivation of the chicken pox virus, and this can manifest in the outer ear. If it's associated with facial weakness, this is termed Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, and this is due to facial nerve involvement. Because remember, the facial nerve runs very close to the middle ear. Now, Ramsay-Hunt syndrome is rare in children, as herpes zoster shingles tend to manifest later in life. Mastoid Itis is a complication of acute otitis media, and it's essentially infection of the mastoid air cells. The infection can actually spread to the mastoid air cells through the mastoid antrum. Typically, it presents with fevers, post-auricular erythema, and tenderness. Mastoid Itis is a serious infection because the infection from the mastoid air cells can then further spread into the brain, the meninges, and even down to the neck. So those are some examples of primary otalgia, which is really ear pain caused by pathology in the actual ear. Secondary otalgia is caused by referred pain from shared nerves of the ear. Secondary otalgia can usually be identified by the absence of findings in the ear itself and by findings of inflammation elsewhere. For example, referred otalgia may originate from the temporomandibular joint, the teeth, the pharynx, and even the larynx.